Clover the Adventurous Cow. Chapter 1, Clover's Dream. Clover was not like the other cows on Buttercup Farm. While the others spent their days slowly munching on sweet green grass or lounging in the sunshine, Clover would lie on her back in the meadow, gazing up at the sky. Her big brown eyes sparkled whenever she saw a cloud shaped like a rocket, or when the stars twinkled like diamonds in the dark night sky. "Why do you always stare at the sky?" asked Mabel the moo cow one morning, chewing thoughtfully. "I want to go up there someday," Clover said, pointing a hoof at the sky. "I want to visit the stars, maybe even the moon." The cows around her laughed gently. "Clover," said old Bessie kindly, "cows belong on the ground, not flying around in the sky." But Clover didn't mind their chuckles. She knew they didn't understand. To her, the sky wasn't just something above, it was a place of mystery and wonder, full of possibilities. That night, as the sun dipped behind the hills and the sky turned a deep, velvety blue, Clover tiptoed out of the barn. She lay down in the cool grass and stared upward. A shooting star raced across the sky. Clover gasped and made a wish. "I wish I could fly," she whispered. "Even just once." And though the only sound was the chirp of crickets and the soft breeze through the trees, Clover felt something magical stir in the air. Tomorrow, she thought, she'd take her first step toward the stars. Chapter 2, The Curious Book. The next morning, Clover trotted out to the barnyard with her usual excitement. While the other cows were still stretching and yawning, she felt full of energy. As she walked near the farmer's shed, something shiny caught her eye. It was peeking out from under a stack of old wooden crates. Curious, Clover trotted over and used her nose to nudge the crates aside. There, covered in dust and cobwebs, was a big blue book. She gently opened it with her hoof. Inside were colorful drawings of rockets, stars, planets, and even astronauts. The title read, "How to Build a Rocket, Even If You're Not a Human." Clover's heart jumped. "This is it," she exclaimed. "This is the start of my adventure." She tucked the book safely in the hay pile behind the barn, flipping through pages whenever no one was looking. There were diagrams and steps and all kinds of interesting facts about flying. Clover didn't understand all the big words, but she understood one thing clearly: she needed a rocket. And she was going to build one. Chapter 3, Clover Tells a Friend. Later that day, Clover decided she needed help. Building a rocket was a big job, even for a cow with a dream. So she trotted over to Tilly the horse, who was brushing her mane with a stick. "Tilly," Clover began, "I have something super important to tell you." Tilly looked up, amused. "Is it about the time you thought the pond was a giant milk bowl again?" Clover laughed. "No, not this time. I found a book. A special book. And I'm going to build a rocket to go to space." Tilly blinked. "You're serious?" Clover nodded. "I need someone smart and strong to help. And you're both." Tilly looked thoughtful. I've always wondered what the moon tastes like." "Okay, I'm in." Clover gave a happy little hop. "To the stars," she shouted. Chapter 4, Gathering Supplies. Clover and Tilly set out the next morning with a list from the book. They needed wood, metal, wheels, rope, and something called rocket fuel, though Clover still wasn't sure what that was. They borrowed old barrels from behind the shed, found loose wheels in the junkyard, and pulled ropes from the barn attic. "What about shiny stuff?" asked Clover. "All rockets need shiny stuff." Tilly nodded and trotted off to gather spoons, pans, and even an old mirror. Benny the goat watched them pass. "What are you two building?" he asked. "A rocket," Clover said proudly. Benny snorted. "Well, that sounds ridiculous. Can I help?" With a growing team and a growing pile of parts, Clover's dream was starting to look like a plan. Chapter 5, Rocket Building Begins. The animals chose the corner of the meadow as their launch site. Clover laid out the book and assigned everyone a job. Tilly hammered the barrels together. Benny chewed the ends off the ropes to make knots. Daisy the duck flapped around cleaning the metal parts. By sunset, a funny-looking rocket stood in the meadow. It was tall, patchy, and painted bright red with stars. "It looks like a rocket," said Tilly, impressed. "It is a rocket," Clover replied. She looked up at the sky. "Soon, I'll be up there." Chapter 6: The Engine Problem. The next day, the team hit a problem. "We need an engine," Clover said, flipping through the book. "Without it, the rocket won't fly." "What exactly is an engine?" asked Benny. Everyone scratched their heads. Then Wally the pig waddled over, wiping mud from his snout. "Farmer Joe has an old lawn mower in the shed," he said. "It makes a loud noise and moves fast." Clover's eyes lit up. "Perfect! That could be our engine." With great effort, the animals rolled the rusty mower across the field and bolted it to the back of the rocket. "This is going to be awesome," Clover whispered. Chapter 7: Testing Day. The animals gathered for the rocket's first test. "Everyone stand back," Tilly called. "We don't know what will happen." Clover climbed in and pressed the red button. The lawn mower sputtered. A tiny puff of smoke escaped. Pop, fizzle. Sputter. Then, nothing. The rocket didn't budge. The crowd sighed. "Well," Clover said, climbing out, "at least it didn't explode." Chapter 8: Balloon Boost. Back in the barn, Daisy waddled in with an idea. "What if we use balloons to lift it?" she said. Lots and lots of balloons. The animals liked that idea. All afternoon, they blew up balloons of every shape and color. They tied them to the rocket until it looked like a giant flying jelly bean. "Tomorrow," Clover whispered, "we fly." Chapter 9: Lift Off. Morning arrived. The sun rose over the trees. The whole farm was watching. 3, 2, 1, Clover counted. She pressed the button. The lawn mower roared. The balloons tugged upward. Slowly, inches at first, then feet, the rocket rose into the sky. "She's flying!" Tilly shouted. Clover laughed joyfully as the wind rushed past her face. She was flying. Chapter 10: Trouble in the Sky. Up in the air, the rocket swayed. A strong gust of wind pushed it sideways. Balloons popped. The rocket dipped. Clover remembered the book's advice: stay calm. Use the tail fins. She gently adjusted the controls. The rocket steadied. "You can do this," she told herself. Below, the farm grew smaller. Above, the stars grew closer. Chapter 11: The Moon Moo. Clover blinked. Ahead of her was a round, glowing shape, the moon. It shimmered and glowed like a pearl. She stretched out a hoof. It felt like magic. Suddenly, she heard a sound, moo. Clover gasped. Was the moon mooing back at her? She giggled. "I guess even the moon knows I'm a cow." Chapter 12: Back to Earth. Clover turned the rocket gently. "Time to go home," she said. She followed the stars back down, the rocket floating softly like a feather. The animals ran to meet her as she landed. Clover climbed out, her fur sparkling with stardust. "You did it!" Tilly cried. Clover smiled. "I touched the sky." Chapter 13: Clover's Star. That night, the animals held a party. They danced, sang, and made Clover a crown of silver hay. "You were brave," said old Bessie. "You showed us cows can fly." Clover looked up at the night sky. One star twinkled extra bright. "That one's mine," she whispered. From that night on, whenever anyone looked up at the stars, they remembered the cow who believed, who tried, and who flew. The end.